Namaste, everyone. Welcome to this workshop on resilience, how to go through the challenges of life using the practices of Ayurveda and yoga to really allow ourselves to go through them with resilience, bounce back, and even perhaps thrive and grow better through the journey. My name is Dana Saray. I am the co-founder and director of Hanuman Academy. And Hanuman Academy is an organization that offers transformative yoga education, mostly online. We also have a festival, Hanuman Festival in Boulder, Colorado, and we also go on adventures around the world. But this is really about our yoga programs and also now Ayurveda. Really excited because we have a new program coming out. Actually, it's open for enrollment right now, and it starts this Sunday, and it's called Everyday Ayurveda, Embodying Intuitive Wholeness. So really excited, and we'll tell you more about that later. And I'm going to introduce you now to the radiant Laura Plum. She is such an amazing being and partner for Hanuman Academy, and you've just stepped in to offer your wisdom on Ayurveda in such a beautiful and powerful way these last months, and now with this Everyday Ayurveda program that you're leading for us. And Laura, you've written a cookbook called Ayurveda Cooking for Beginners, and it's wonderful. So I highly recommend you all check that out. And Laura just has a ton of experience in yoga, Ayurveda, and Jyotish. So welcome, Laura. So happy to be with us.
Thank you, Dana. It's wonderful to be here with you, and it's wonderful to be partnered with Hanuman Academy. And it's great to be with 23 people from around the country and maybe around the world. I'm really fascinated by what people are writing in the chat box, too, in terms of what people are here for. I think this is a very juicy subject, and I think it's very brave of us, especially you, because I think that if we might just start here, I think that this has been a challenging summer. And from the day we started working on this project, you and I have both been hit by a lot. Life has really thrown a lot at us, especially you. And yet we do have a program that's starting on Sunday and is launching. And somehow that intention of yours to bring this to your community has lived, and it's lived strong, and it's really, really beautiful to see. So I'm really myself personally interested in this conversation we're having today, just to see what flows, and to see what you also really have to say.
Yeah, it has certainly been probably the most challenging time of my life this past month plus. And I'm just gonna be really real that I might cry as I share a bit of my journey. And I think when Laura and I talked about doing this final webinar in the series, the Living Ayurveda series, and we were thinking of a topic to really support this series on how Ayurveda and yoga can really transform our lives, can really help us to augment and enhance and better our lives. This theme came through for me on resilience because as we've been working towards launching this program, it's been an incredibly challenging time, and I've had to really call upon the practices in so many ways to really navigate what is incredibly real. I love this, Tara. You're saying the combination of grit and grace, and that holding steady and allowing to receive. And that's been such a huge part of my journey. So about almost 6 weeks ago now, my son was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia. So, such
yeah. And he's 15, very young, but at an age you would never expect it.
Yeah. So just totally wild to have this come into our lives and to be thrust into a really deep journey of treatment and hospital and Western medicine and alternative medicine, and figuring it all out amidst a very sort of urgent timeline. So it's been just huge. And so when when we were kind of coming up with what is this final webinar about, and I was going to be a part of it because I haven't been a part of the series as much as I plan to be, because I've been taking care of my son and myself and my family. I wanted to be a part of this and really share how these practices have been a support for me in this sort of incredibly real life situation that I would never imagine myself in, my son in. And the intensity of it is just, I'll just say, really huge and really big. And I just also want to say, Laura, like, I know you've been going through some really big challenges as well. And so it's a vulnerable moment for both of us to come here and to really share how, although sometimes it can seem from the outside that, we've got it all together, there's a lot going on that we're all navigating. And when things get really, 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 really intense and real life, like the type of health crisis my son has been in, it really, like, for me, there's been this ability to rest into my practice in a way that I'm so grateful for. Like the wisdom and the practices of Ayurveda and yoga have been a cushion, I would say, in this time of where I've felt incredibly thin and stressed and stretched in incredible ways. There's been this cushion that I've been able to rest into and rely upon. And it's sort of like, with herbs sometimes, or, you could probably give us an example of this, Laura, like when you take an herb one time, it doesn't quite do that much. It's sort of, maybe you'll feel it a little bit, but sometimes when you take it day after day after day after day, it starts to accumulate and have this sense of, I would just use the word cushion. And that's what, for me, I feel like the practices of Ayurveda and yoga have given me in this time. And there's been this accumulative effect that I've been able to rest into. And so even the first, couple of weeks of this incredible journey that I've been on, I did not make it onto my mat or my cushion one time. I didn't do any of these Ayurvedic daily rituals per se, because, I was in the hospital and things were not conducive necessarily to that. But there's been this cushion of resilience, of practice that I've been able to feel in my system. The breath, the simple things, nourishment, the elements, really orienting towards gratitude and towards beauty. And these are the foundations upon which I feel like I've been able to journey through this in a way that has perhaps been less intense than it could have been.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. That's very honest and raw and real and beautiful and holy and sacred. And I just bow to you. You're amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing what you've lived. Yeah. And that you're able to live it. I mean, the way you describe it, it sounds like you really are living it. You're fully awake to it. Something that a lot of people might want to go half-mast through. At least I'll close one eye and I'll leave one eye open for what I have to leave it open to. But can I close the other eye? But you've been wide awake to it, full-hearted.
Yeah, and I think that's the gift of the yoga. It's that presence, ability to be present each moment as much as possible. And I cannot say that I've at all been sort of perfect or unaffected in any way. It's been deeply intense, hard, difficult, challenging emotional, big. And I would have to say that one of, coming from creating this program with you, Laura, coming from like right out of filming this program, really, and this happening, there was such a reinforcement of working with intuition and with the energies of nature, and so there really has been this like reliance on my intuition, and then also at what element do I need right now to bring balance into myself? What do I need to center myself right now? And so in the Everyday Ayurveda program, Laura, you teach us how to perceive in a deeply intuitive, embodied way what the qualities of nature are, so that we can actually feel how they're impacting us. And then what is the medicine to bring us to center from that place. And so there's been a deep attunement in my system to that, this whole journey. And I would say that the element that has been my savior in this journey is earth.
Yeah.
Number one, first and foremost, fortunately outside of the hospital, there's grass. There's this big field of grass. And every day, that I'm down there, I just go and sit on the grass, put my bare feet on the grass, lay on the grass, especially the first few days when things were just incredibly intense in all ways. Putting my body onto the earth was the way that I could find some sense of center. But I think because, in that environment, there's so much mental activity, there's so much information coming in, which maybe we could call the air elements, and I tend to be, when I go out of balance, I do go towards that Vata type of imbalance. And so much information and stress and energy and intensity kind of coming at me in all directions. My medicine just intuitively, I didn't even think about it, just like went out to the grass as much as I could and put my body in the grass. And so there's been this very deep attunement to what is the energetic quality that I need to balance. And so I'm really grateful for you for bringing that even more into my awareness and into my perceptions through this program. Yeah.
Yeah. I was actually going to ask you about that because I saw something that you posted about, I think it was a picture of you in nature, maybe just outside from the hospital room. And there were trees and it was very green. And you posted about how it wasn't just that nature was supporting you, but it was even just this post about how even in the midst of all this chaos and bad news, there's still the earth, and there's still this beauty, and there's still this air, and there's still this breath. And that's what I love about both yoga and Ayurveda. Yoga trains that muscle that is able to notice and perceive that in the midst of the greatest hurricane, there is still that presence where we can be aware, even when everything is coming apart, that there's still beauty in the world. And Ayurveda is that relationship with it.
Yeah, there was this one day that I woke up at the hospital and I was feeling pretty heartachy and heavy and sad and just having a hard time. And ritual has been really helpful for me, and that rhythm that Ayurveda teaches and yoga teaches, to be in the rhythm of what sustains us. And so I had this rhythm that every day I'd get up and I'd go downstairs and I'd go outside onto this grass. And so I was in my ritual of doing that, and I was walking down the hallway of the hospital, and I was going down the elevator, and then I got to the big foyer where there's just a massive amount of people scurrying about, and everybody's got their story there. It's a lot of energy and people, and I was feeling pretty down in this moment, and I was this muscle that you spoke of really clicked in that moment, and I reminded myself to look for beauty, like to actually look for it and orient towards it. And so I was walking through this big sort of hall area with lots of different people, and I just started like seeing the way the light was shining into this hall, and seeing the glint in someone's eye, or seeing the smile, or noticing, the quality of everybody's here because they really care about something deeply. And so there was this remembrance and ability to turn on that muscle that you spoke of, and orient towards gratitude and beauty, like in the midst of, I would say, the darkest time of my life. I've been able to do that, and it's been incredibly helpful. And I've really thought a lot about how you teach, Laura, about how nature is really here to love and nourish and support us. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that we can actually orient towards that in any moment, no matter how deep and intense the feeling is, the emotion is, the crisis is, the overwhelm is, that there is this attunement towards the beauty principle. And then also being in nature and allowing, for me, there's been like these particular stones and particular trees and the grass that I have just found sanctuary in over and over again. So there's certainly that orientation that I feel calls forth resilience to orient towards something that I can find in those moments that I can deeply anchor myself into. It is that like pulling in from that hurricane, from that, that storm, like coming into the eye, that when I have been able to do that, it's drawn me so deeply into a place of resource, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. Pure presence is the eye of the hurricane.
Yeah.
And from there we resource what we need, right? Because presence itself, it always knows what we need. It always is able to respond spontaneously.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Presence and that power of observation.
Yeah. 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 So thank you again for sharing. You're being so honest and real and beautiful and extraordinary. And I love what you said, because I've been in a similar place where my practice in crisis may be a downward dog, upward dog, twist, plow, and then I'm on my knees asking for help or chanting. Mm-hmm. Chanting is always what really helps me in times of crisis. And a lot of times my practice is, less asana and more chanting, or more pure meditation might be too much space element, too much out there and thoughts come racing in. So having something to hold on to, like chanting for the mind, very soothing for the nervous system. I'm wondering what tools, for instance, you might speak to that everybody listening could have as a takeaway. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, chanting has been huge. Mantra, tuning into like calling upon the support of mantra and the supportive energy. Like each mantra is a vibration, is a sound frequency that some of them relate to certain deities or, energetic frequencies. And so for me to call in my support system, both in terms of people, like family and community that have showed up big time for me, but also in terms of this more invisible realm, the frequencies that the mantras hold, and the energetics around that have been huge for me. So calling in the energies that I know are supportive for me. You know, Ganesh, for instance, has been huge. And we spoke of this, Laura, because you read my chart, my Jyotish chart, and helped me to understand that Jupiter is playing a big role in my chart right now, and to really chant to Ganesh and the Guru as a pathway of really calling upon the support of this planetary being that is really holding me right now in terms of my Vedic astrology. And so the chanting, I had a friend actually drop off a Ganesh statue. I actually have a couple of them, but it was sort of like Ganesh just came in big.
Great.
For me, through you, through my friend, through, just coming through. So chanting to that energy and really allowing myself to hold the intention and the prayer that all of the apparent challenges or obstacles would be transformed into gifts, into opportunities. And I feel like Ganesh just holds that so powerfully, that he's well known for that sort of remover of obstacles, or, but there's this sense of being able to fully kind of transform and transcend whatever that apparent challenge is, and find the blessing force in it. So, so that's one tool, mantra for sure, and in particular chanting to this particular being, but there's many that I've worked with over a long time and call in. So that's been a powerful tool for me too. Definitely practicing outside. And it's almost been the only place for me to practice, being at the hospital. So I actually sort of forced to do that, to go outside and practice. My practice kind of, it's just, that's where it happened. And for me, a lot of allowing gentle movement to start to move what felt stuck and blocked in my being. So gentle asana, gentle breath work, I can be a pretty fierce practitioner. And this has not been the time for that, again, in that sort of intuitive perceptual ability is like, what is gentle and nourishing right now? How can I nourish and keep nourishing? So being on the grass and allowing my intuition to guide me into the gentle movements that I needed. And a lot of that sort of, I talked about earth and the grounding and how supportive that was and is, and then also that water energy of flow and of really allowing my body to guide me in gentle movement. And also I would say expressing my emotions, allowing myself to fully feel. And I would say it feels related to that water element, but allowing myself to cry. And, and I think in that sort of emotional intelligence realm, one of the things that I really learned in this experience, especially in the first few days, was, it was so intense, and there was so much emotion, nonstop, just tears. And because I had to be functional, because I was talking to doctors and I was trying to figure things out, I couldn't just wail. Like in certain moment, like I could not just like sob my head off, And so I would notice that it would get locked up. Like I could feel how not allowing the emotion to just fully flow through was blocking and locking up my system, and I got massive headaches. And so I in kind of realizing that, I really had to take space and time to like fully let those emotions like fully go through me and process all the way through me. And for me, that looked like the shower, going into the shower and like letting it come there and letting the full expression and sounding, you know, like I remember one night in bed, like just needing to sound it, like to get all of that energy that the emotion was holding and let it move through, so it didn't get stuck and locked up and like cause my system to, you know, clench. So a lot of sound and just a focus on like full, again, like you said, presence. Like this is here right now. I'm going to go all the way in and through this and allow it to then pass.
Yeah. What is so beautiful is that sounding is you've got to be so present to almost hear the sound that the body wants to make. And then, like you say, I mean, that's so much presence to hear and to tune in to the sound of anguish, let's say, that wants to be sounded, but also to be released. That's so beautiful. Yeah, wow. And your practice, obviously, as you said at the beginning, is so deep that it sounds like when you went intuitively to the grass, your body, it has so much to call upon. It has so much, there's already so much internal resource that your body's able to move and play and explore in ways that are helpful rather than in ways you've been taught, so it's not coming from external.
But yeah, I would say that sense of what do I need right now, like asking myself and having that actual conversation, like Dana, like what do you need right now? Like here we are. This is the moment to, you know, here's the space right now to take for myself. Like what do you need? And listening, like you're saying, like really listening and then giving that to myself. There's been such an interesting like being in such a public space, like a hospital, where there's no privacy. So I'm out on the lawn, like doing my practice, and like I don't care who's watching. Like it's just like I need to do this.
Yeah.
And so there's been such an interesting journey of that too. Like it doesn't matter. Like what matters is actually like what I need right now to resource myself, and I don't care who's watching. You know, like just to deeply, because I think that that's something that I have done a lot in my past, and I think it's pretty common. Like, okay, I can hear even perhaps what I need, but I'm not going to do it because the circumstance isn't perfect for it, or I don't have what I need. You know, so there's been this like urgency, I think, that has allowed me to break through of any of that sort of self-consciousness. Like, oh, I'm the weird yogi on the lawn. Like, I don't care. You know, like I just have to move this energy. I have to move my body. I have to be on the grass. So that deep attunement and listening, and then responding like, okay, I hear you. I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I think I kind of want to like, I know that you've, you know, also been going through your own trials and tribulations and challenges. And I would love to hear how the practices of Ayurveda and yoga have been a resource for you as well. Yeah.
Well, I think the first thing that comes to my mind is pretty much you've said it, that when you're deeply grounded in the practice, then it's available to you in the moment. And again, I don't necessarily mean asana, but asana does help because it helps to move the energy. And but what really came to me in times of crisis, what comes to me is this just capacity to be so present, to see the wind blowing through the trees, and to realize it's almost like there's a greater intimacy with life itself sometimes in those times. Because you're on high alert, you know, you have to be paying attention to everything, so to speak. Your nervous system's like, oh, what's going on? And so in those moments, you see the way the light refracts, you know, as the sun's about to set, the way that light just refracts across the grass or the lawn or the meadows or the trees, waking up in the morning and just sort of tuning back into what's going on and what the reality of the day is. And at the same time, looking out the window and seeing the leaves blowing. And just in those moments, feeling the results and the benefits of your practice is that you're able to be fully present. And then, what is our practice about really, but enabling us to be able to skillfully respond to the needs of the moment spontaneously in any given moment. Mm-hmm. And there you are. And that's what you were doing. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, to know how to listen, how to ask body, dear body, what do you need? Mm-hmm. I've been in the same place where I go to the shower to cry because it feels like nobody can hear you. And as the water pours down, the water flows. I've been in the same place where I've been sort of holding myself and just going, it's like tuning in to this inner cry, like an animal almost. But it felt very intimate. It felt very loving. Mm-hmm. And then, as I mentioned, chanting is very powerful. It's interesting because I created a camp. I used to work at a place here in San Diego that is a recovery center for women the ages of 18 to 30. And it's called Shakti Rising because the belief is that these women lost their inner power and that their trauma has been an invitation for them to remember their inner Shakti. And so the 3 years that they live in the Sunshine House all together, everything, all the courses, all the therapies, everything is all about recovering, reclaiming that inner Shakti so that they can grow to be the leaders of our future. And create in their case, a more female-centric world for mothers and women. And then I saw that I decided to create a camp where we teach yoga and Ayurveda, and it's for middle school girls. And the idea there is to try to build resiliency before they might be 18 to 30 years old, possibly needing a place like that. Mm-hmm. Building resiliency before the world catches up to them, hopefully never does. Hopefully they never have trauma, but just in case. Mm-hmm. So today, all day, knowing that we're doing this, I've been thinking, well, wait, I've been in this field for 15 years now. And, supposedly telling parents that we're going to help cultivate resiliency in your girls every summer. What does that really mean? And I ended up in some meditation just thinking, it's in its core, maybe resiliency is our life essence. It's our humanity. And it arises from a voice within us that says, I'm not going down. I am not going to be broken by this. And it's that power of life that we talk about all the time in yoga. We teach a yoga class and we're like, la-di-da, power of life. This is the moment where we're like, yeah, power of life. As a mother, you are not going down. You can't. Josh needs you. And you need you, and your family needs you, right? So there's something in you that's acknowledging that. And then looking for whatever is needed in order to best support your life. Because we say this a lot in yoga, like in the heart, there's this unbreakable spirit, right? Om Mani Padme Hum, the diamond at the heart is absolutely unbreakable, indestructible. And this is where you get to experience that. And I just think that opportunity that you gave me by doing this webinar to really look at what does that mean? This is what yoga is telling us. This is what Ayurveda is telling us. There's something unbreakable in you. And before we find the tools, let's find that voice. Let's find that spirit. Let's find that power that wants to live no matter what. Right? In your case, the worst news you could get. Sometimes in my case, I've been, unfortunately, in a more than one relationship with people who want to break me. And there's a point where I'm, accepting and loving and yoga and calm and breathing through it and forgiving until there's a point where I'm saying, no, I will not be broken. No. And, you know, you can love and you can forgive and you can be all accepting, but you say, I will find what I need to find in order that this does not break me. I will live and I will rise again. And that's a beautiful thing to find, even though the experience that you're going through is a very terrible thing to have to go through.
Absolutely. And I've been, that's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And that like when we get to the depth of crisis, I saw a meme or, you know, an image recently that said, you know, you don't really know your strength until it's tested.
Yeah.
You know, and then it's like, wow. And so, yeah, there's opportunity in these types of challenges, crises, to really anchor and root and understand and know that so deeply, and to be in the yoga, in the living, breathing practice of yoga every moment. And for me, that's looked like there is so much unknown. There's so much uncertainty in my experience right now. And that's yoga. Like that's what we're trained for. It's like, you know, to surrender into that place of we have absolutely no idea and no control over any of this. And to fully allow ourselves to embrace that present moment awareness that all I need to do here is surrender and trust that deeper essence within me, that experience, that universal consciousness that holds me. And at the same time, like you said, there's like this, and I think someone wrote about this earlier, there's that balance of the grit and the grace.
Yeah.
There's that sense of like full surrender. And there's also like that spontaneous action. And that's what I'm really hearing you speak to, that fierceness. That's like, no, I know exactly what I need in this moment and I'm going to do it. And then on the, you know, the opposite side of the coin, or, you know, it's like the yin and the yang. It's the polarities that create the yoga, the unity is the complete and total surrender and trust that this is exactly what I need for my soul to grow and evolve in exactly the way that is right and perfect for me right now. And for my son, you know, to really trust that and to trust each of our experience. That, you know, I love one thing that Anand Mehrotra says is life is not happening to us, it's happening for us. And to allow each of these deep stresses and challenges to actually fuel that that deep motivation, that sense of I will rise. And not only will I rise, but I will rise better than I've ever been before. I will integrate all that this challenge is asking me to integrate. And I will then take that into the next level and layer of my offering in this world. Yeah. And it can be a lot to ask. And I know that in my journey, it's like, I've been able to hold that. And there's the human, there's the vulnerability, there's the, this is hard. This is hard. And I know in some part of myself that there's a greater plan that is allowing everything to unfold in the way that it's supposed to. Yeah.
And the hard and that human part is part of that which you're learning and growing, you know, that you've mentioned. It's part of that all that's being integrated and part of what becomes your gift to the world. Because hopefully not, but in a year or 5 or 10, if a mother comes to you and says, I'm going through this really hard thing with my child, you will know how hard that is. You will have the compassion for her that she will need, that no one else will really have in the way that she needs it. Because you've been on the dark side of that one and you've really felt it and you didn't avoid feeling it, but you really went right into it. I mean, it is our being human, I think, that is our gift to others. It's our spiritual practice that is a gift, but it's also that human practice that is, we need each other. We need each other in the compassion that arises from our own really deep sometimes dark experiences.
Yeah, and that really speaks to the wholeness, like that wholeness that we speak about in Everyday Ayurveda, embodying intuitive wholeness, that we are all of this. This is all of us. And we're not meant to only be light or to be completely transcendent all the time and always, have it together and all of that, our vulnerability is just as much a gift to ourselves and to the world and completes us. Like that's how we get to be a whole person. And I love what you're saying. And I've had that experience. I've had mothers who have been through this coming to me and helping me through this journey. And I can see like the gift, like the generosity that's been coming towards me has been just incredible. And especially from these key people who've been through something similar. Like there's such a generosity. They want to help and support and really help me through it, and that's been beautiful to see that other side and to know that it's there, to trust, again, that through this journey, there's something that will come. And I don't necessarily see that yet in its entirety, but I can hold that, that sort of Saraswati wisdom, that sense of, after all of the storm passes, there will be some wisdom there. Yeah. Yeah.
That somewhat reminds me of something that I've been doing lately that's been helpful, both in terms of current chaos and also helping with some old stuff. And that's just to take my hands. I almost want to call this a mudra. Ardha Hasta, So if we take the two hands and open them out and put them down on the womb, so the lower belly, just hold the belly. And then I just say to my womb area where emotions might get stuffed or stuck, or my little girl might be waiting for some attention. I don't know what's there. I don't know. I go not knowing. I go into the mystery, putting the hands there and holding and just sort of closing my eyes, taking a deep breath. And the first image is, I'm breathing for you and I'm breathing to you. And can you feel my breath? And then the next thing is, and I'm holding you now, and can you feel my hands? And I'm holding you. And the next thing I say is, I'm here for you. I'm here for you. And it actually makes me a little emotional to say that. But just to say to anyone, I'm here for you. It feels so good to hear that. And we can even say it to ourselves, I'm here for you. I'm here for you with all that you're going through right now. And so often we've abandoned ourselves. We've abandoned ourselves when we've been hurting or we've allowed other people to define us in certain ways, and conditioning is a form of self-abandonment. And so to basically say, to hold yourself in your most vulnerable place and say, I am here for you. It feels so good. And it is a restoration of that wholeness. It is an allowance of vulnerability. And it is a kind of listening to the intuitive self. Because then you're just there, right? And present to what your inner voice wants to communicate. Even if it's just, let's cry or let's be together in silence.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And I've had the great blessing of hearing that from a lot of people. I'm here for you. And there's been a great teaching in this journey for me around not being alone in it, around receiving, I would say, the support and the love and the outpouring of love that's come my way through this. There's this lesson around we're not alone, we're not alone, and to be able to rely on that, and to call upon that sense of connection. That's what I really heard you saying in this, like, I'm here for you, even speaking that to ourselves, that sense of connection, that we don't have to like muscle through it. by ourselves, but that there's an infinite well of resource available, from the simplest, like, I'm here for you, saying it to ourselves, to looking for it in nature, in the elements, in the trees, in the grass, to the people that show up magically, like for me, there's been conversations with strangers that have touched me so deeply, so deeply. And then there's old friends that have come through. And so there's like a whole range of the way that support and that connectivity has shown up and really reminded me that we're never alone, and that sense of self-reliance that I certainly have lived a lot in my life it doesn't help with that resilience. It doesn't bring a deeper ability to navigate through challenge, but actually the softening and the vulnerability and the receptivity has been a huge resource to develop ever more resiliency, knowing that, gosh, there's support here, from the earth beneath me to the air that I'm breathing, to the food that I'm putting in my body. That I love how you teach that each bite, this food is designed to nourish us. And so orienting towards that support and that nourishment has been a deep teaching of this time, and a deep teaching of resiliency, that, we might think like resiliency is about empowerment, like I can do it all myself. There's like some cultural construct around being the lone wolf, or being being able to keep it all together and do it all on our own. And I just don't think that has any place actually in true resiliency. In true resiliency, there's the give and the receive. There's the breath that actually allows us to receive the support that's all around us.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that we talked a lot about in the class was, preach, sister, says Kartha. One of the things that we talked a lot about in class is that nature is not only designed to support you, but it's as if it wants to support you. The Sat Chit Ananda, the presence, the intelligence, and the love force is in nature too. And so all of nature is offering itself to us and wanting to support, wanting to love you and give to you. And in a way, I love what you said, because resilience sometimes is just lying down in the grass and feeling that, right? It's not getting up and being so strong and powerful, but sometimes it's bending to the wind as the branches do, right? So may I ask you then, how can we be here for you?
It's a question I've been asked a lot, I would say. Like, what do you need? How can I support you? And I don't always know what to ask for, but I think that actually the presence of everyone here and the like, I think actually me sharing this journey with you all is a gift for me. Again, it's like I'm not alone in this, even if I don't necessarily know who you all are. There's a sense of, I'm not like holding it all into myself. I'm actually allowing myself to be seen and to be in relationship around this incredible challenge. And I think that's another gift, and to learn how to share, to be vulnerably seen in the darkest moments. And it's something that I've been really grateful for my son, because he's also got to experience this like just wave of love and support coming towards him. And there's this sort of like, he's been so loved in this time. And there's a part of me that's just like, and I feel it in myself too, if there's ever been a part of me that felt unworthy, or like, a lack of self-worth, or, in my son, that place that I know exists. I think it exists in all of us, that part that's sort of like, am I really worthy, And that's the part that cuts off connection. And so there's been this beautiful witnessing of that love just flowing towards my son, and that him knowing how much he matters, and me knowing how much I matter through all of the love coming my way. So I guess there's just something for me that's really filled me in knowing that that we care about each other really deeply. And times like this, really bring that out. And that's another gift. So I don't know what I need in this moment from everybody. But just that sense of like, we're in a shared experience really feels like it touches me. And I guess I would want to ask you the same thing, Laura. How can we support you?
I'll tell you what really feels supportive to me, and that is when conscious people know their value, claim their truth, and rise up. I get jazzed about that, and that points the way for all of us to do the same. So everybody being resilient, everybody joining like this in community. I hear you when you say that. Feels connecting. It feels supportive. And you've been terrifically supportive. So thank you.
Well, I'd love to just ask everybody who's listening here, is there any questions you all have, or any, comments you'd like to share around your own experience around this? And as you're feeling into that and maybe typing some comments, do want to just really plug this program that is open for registration now. It's called Everyday Ayurveda, Embodying Intuitive Wholeness. And it's really a heart offering from Laura and Hanuman Academy and myself. And Laura just teaches this incredible wisdom of Ayurveda that's really not about studying a book. It's not about learning concepts as much as it is about understanding from an embodied level what these concepts or principles actually feel like and actually direct us towards in our life. So it's a really unique way of studying Ayurveda that's incredibly practical, because it's something you can use every day. Like, I feel like I've really used this, like, what am I observing in my environment? And then how can I bring the balance that I need in this moment based on that? And that's exactly what Laura teaches so powerfully in this program. And then you get yoga practices with myself to help integrate these learnings. You get incredible visualization practices with Laura to really cultivate more of this intuitive connection with the elements. And you get these incredible at-home practices that help you to explore even deeper through food, through learning about spices, through Ayurveda lifestyle practices, how to build that resiliency, I would say. It really is about finding our sense of center no matter the changing nature of life. I love this metaphor, like nature is constantly changing from day to day, from, week to week, from season to season, from decade to decade. There's constant change. I love, the only, the only thing in life, the only constant is change. That's it. It's a simple one. The only constant is change. And this is exactly what you will learn in this course, is how to really navigate and respond to those changes that are inevitable. So when the biggest challenges arise or the smallest challenges arise or the little imbalances or the big imbalances, it's like you'll know how to draw upon your inner wisdom to find your way through. So it really is a phenomenal program, and it's open for enrollment right now. And I would just so love any and all of you to join us for this 6-week journey. It's going to be really special.
And plus, we're going to have the Facebook Lives where we get to answer questions and offer support and build community. And I think that's what we're talking about right here, right? That support that's so needed right now, I think, in our world today. We all need validation. We need to feel seen. We need to feel valued. And we need to hold hands and connect. So thank you.
Yeah, is there any questions? I don't see that much coming through. Oh.
No, I see a nice message from Maze. Thank you.
Yeah. So we are reachable through email at team@hanumanacademy.com, and would love to be connected with you all and answer your questions. And if you're already a part of our community, like many of you are, we're so grateful to have you here with us and continue to offer these free workshops and also our incredible programs that really provide a deeper experience for you all. And I'm just going to throw into the chat box the link for all of the information. Somebody asked about price, and I'll just throw in the link because you can go there and see like everything from price to how it works to what the curriculum is to what you're going to get out of it. So go to that link and check out the program. And if you have questions about it, be in touch with us, team@hanumanacademy.com. You can also send us a Facebook message.
Yeah, wonderful. And may we all know that we have that indestructible, resilient power within us.
Yeah.
Everyone here, remember that. And one of the things we did in the webinars in August was we did some prayers for you and Josh. Maybe we can close with that.
Yeah, thank you. There was one thought that came that I wanted to share. Yeah, I think just that a final thought that I have is what you just said, Laura, about, the resilience. And it's like nature is the ultimate expression of resilience.
Yeah.
Like when the forest fire comes through and then the little sprout comes up right away. It's like it's back, and or, the tree that, it's way, the bamboo, it bends, or, it's like nature is the greatest teacher of resilience. And that's what Ayurveda teaches us, is how to become totally aligned and in harmony and in resonance with nature, within ourselves and all around. And for me, I feel like that's a huge crisis that we're in on the planet, is this disconnect from nature, both within us and in the world. And so that remembrance that nature is the greatest teacher of resilience, and that when we embody that, the nature within us, then we're going to be ever more resilient to all of the intensity that life is inevitably going to throw our way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I'd love, do you want to lead us in a prayer and a chant and something to close?
Somebody asked about summarizing the class. I think if you follow the link that Dana put up there, all the information's there, just so that we don't overlook that question. So the chanting that we were doing for you and Josh for healing was Om Trambakam Yajurmahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urdhvarukamiva Vandhanam Mrityumukshayamamritat. And everyone, please join us if you know it. Om Trambakam Yajurmahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urdhvarukamiva Vandhanam Mrityumukshayamamritat. Om Trambakam Yajurmahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urdhvarukamiva Vandhanam Mrityumukshayamamritat. May the power of life, power of healing, the power of regeneration really shower down upon Josh now. Fill his cells, fill his body, fill his being with that power and help him heal. Help him have a miraculous, spontaneous, glorious, extraordinary healing. May it be now, and may it be always.
May that same healing power bless each and every one of you all and us all as we remember our truly unified connectivity, and that we're all navigating these waters together and that we're here for each other.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight, and we look forward to the next time we get to be with you all. Namaste.
Thank you. Thank you.